Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Roll call.
I'm here.
Here.
Karen here. Kathy here.
John here.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Carly.
Karen I. Kathy I.
John.
You get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Carly.
Jerry.
Karen I. Kathy.
Okay. Get proof of publication for the budget amendment. And then we need to set a public hearing date, fiscal year.
Actually, you need to open the public hearing.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public meeting. I'll second.
Carly.
Jerry.
Karen I. Kathy I.
John.
Okay, set a public hearing date for fiscal year 19 budget amendment. That the next meeting, Karen?
Yes.
We can do that?
This is the amendment. I sent an email on that we just had to tweak some things that we had tried to adjust downward, and that's just not going to be possible. But so really, our end year totals are going to be really close to the original budget. Good.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for the next council meeting.
June 11th.
June 11th. I'll second.
Carly.
Jerry.
Karen I. Kathy I.
John.
Okay, IW site selection review.
We sent you a letter kind of outlining what meeting we had last week, May 16th, and looking at an alternate site, there were some concerns with stormwater on the existing site. And as we did the analysis of the stormwater for that site, we found that there were concerns during a 100-year flood elevation during construction. Corner of that property, there are 4 or 5 structures that would be impacted by that. So what we decided in the discussion we had at this meeting was to put together some estimates to look at the alternate site. I think there was some discussion at the last council meeting that was a possibility. So coming out of that meeting, we agreed to put together some numbers as to what it would take to bring that site, existing site where the treatment plant was planned to go, up high enough out of that flood elevation and put a larger storm sewer pipe in alongside the existing one that's out there to help alleviate that backup that happens during large rain events. So you're looking at a cost to construct a storm sewer, additional fill, and then the structural concrete to bring the structures up to the elevation needed, $472,000. Now these are, if you look in the letter, it's high-level discussions here and high-level cost estimates that we wanted to do for comparisons only. And at this time, depending on what route you go, we'll refine these numbers to have a little better number. But for estimate purposes, this was the best way we could do is to get these numbers to you, so you could evaluate what direction you want to go. The second set of numbers is to change to go to the other site. You're obviously going to reduce the access road length. So so you don't have to go out to that other site, the cost of the water main and the sewer in there, and then any costs that wouldn't be removed that were added is the installation of additional structural concrete, and the cost for any kind of equipment modifications. So with that, and to change the site and the engineering and the legal, because you're transferring sites, and dealing with the funding agencies, the DNR, and amending what we need to amend, there's engineering fees in there, and they're roughly around $100,000 in cost versus the $472,000 to make the changes at the existing site.
So this land transfer fee would, what is it?
Well, that's
Did we have the one piece of property and now we're getting the other piece of property?
Right. And
So is that reverting back to,
you just swap the pieces of property. And that's just the legal work that needs to be done to deed the land back to AJ and then acquire the new piece of property from AJ.
So basically, take the same building, same structure.
Well, then maybe you can explain.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be taking basically the same processes and the same structures and relocating them. They all have to change elevation wise to match the new kind of the way water flows through the site. So that's kind of, it may not all be exactly the same.
Is that what's driving $140,000?
Yeah. It's changing the majority of the calculations about hydraulics. It's not necessarily the layout of the building so much as it is all the equipment recalcs need to be done.
We have to do a boundary survey and a topographic survey. There's a lot of things that are associated with switching that land. But in the end, obviously, it's less cost.
is the other one an additional $472,000 on top of all?
Because you gotta put another
Yeah.
storm sewer in, I mean, that's about 1,600 feet and a large diameter. And then any modifications to those structures to get them up high enough out of that building.
As far as the DNR and our grant, are we okay there, or?
Yeah, I spoke to Veronica, who's the engineer at EDA that is handling our project, and she looked on this favorably. It is a disaster grant, so the whole point of the grant is to get our site out of the way of any disaster. So based on this new information, she's more comfortable from that perspective with the new site, and she just outlined the requirements from a paperwork standpoint to get it moved, which I discussed with Eldon, and he was familiar with everything she was saying. I did review this with Matt and Dean both today. Dean just had surgery, so he is out, or he can be here, but yeah, they reviewed the letter and are comfortable and in agreement with all the numbers, and it's both their individual recommendations to move to the new site. So.
And the DNR's on board
Yes.
too, or?
Yeah, I spoke with the DNR,
Okay.
and they're on board as long as we get all the permitting stuff taken care of, and that's built into that number too. That number will be refined when we actually decide to move forward. It's not just going to be a block number for you. We'll
Okay.
make it better.
Any other questions?
We don't really have a number right now, then, do we? I mean, you had said you had brought it down from the original 7.
We talked, yeah, that 60% design memo that we presented at I think it was a work session last month. Again, we're high level numbers at 60%, and then we had that discussion a couple weeks ago. We were sitting at the table having a discussion, and I had went through those numbers myself.
Yeah.
Looking at just as a matter of 3 weeks, and there was, because of how they're refining the design, we have a better sense of quantities and what the materials are and the equipment. It reduced it by $500,000, and we kind of said that at that meeting, that work session, is that these are so high level number, and it's going to get refined, and it has, and it will. The bigger thing that we discussed too at that meeting was to not compromise the quality of some of the things that you're
Right.
building into this process and the facility, that you want to bring it down, cut so much that you bring it down below that estimate that we had in our study, and that the grant and all that was based on,
Right.
because you may compromise some of the quality and durability of that facility. So I think where you are right now, in a competitive bidding situation, you're going to be okay.
So we would request a motion from the council to direct staff and IW to either continue with the original site or to pursue the alternate site, which will trigger all the legal and permitting processes we need to start.
So what happens to the lagoon that we were keeping then? Is that still in line with the plant now?
We will not be keeping any of the existing lagoons. All that property is eventually going to be transferred. Yeah, we will be constructing new lagoons, but they're at a much smaller scale. They're just for the flow equalization.
I'll make a motion to go with the alternate option, whatever you call it.
I'll second.
Carla?
Jerry,
Karen, aye.
Kathy, aye.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. Moving on, Greater Dubuque Development Update, Dan McDonald.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, should I stand over here?
That's fine.
Pretty informal, but I want to make sure you can hear me okay.
Nope, you're good.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Dan McDonald, Greater Dubuque Development, 900 Jackson Street in Dubuque, Iowa. Thanks, guys. Stay dry. I want to, Karen and Whitney, thanks again for putting me on. They were painting when I called the other day, and I told them I would be, as always, the easiest part of your night. I have some materials I'm going to hand out. I came out tonight to give you a very specific update on something that's pretty exciting. On April 15th of this last year, we had a media conference we launched. I would say it's one of the biggest campaigns that we've ever had in our history at Greater Dubuque to start getting people to think about giving up the rat race and coming back home. And the campaign we launched, and it's been just phenomenal. We've got literally hundreds of thousands of views, shares, people requesting information just since April 15th. We've never seen anything this high before, even on our paid stuff. This is all organic. The campaign's called Big Life, Small City. What it's about, it's real simple, just what I said. We know there are people that might have went to WD, grew up here, might have grown up in Dyersville, East Dubuque, it doesn't matter, and they've left. And we assume that people always think about coming back, but we've never formally said, hey, gee whiz, do you want to get out of New York or Chicago? I have a great job at a John Deere, a Cotty Daniel Butler, Kunkel, somewhere. We've never formally asked that. We've never formally asked friends and family to push that out there also. And my point to you in short is, I know Peosta's growing like crazy. I was joking with the mayor about the Asbury Peosta takeover of Dubuque, right? You guys are doing great out here. You have an awesome community, you have great jobs, great amenities, just wonderful stuff. And I wanted to tell you tonight, this campaign is a success, and you're going to see inbound. You will see new people picking up their lives and coming here, and they will be living in Peosta or a lot of other places in the tri-state area. So I wanted to let you know it's going well. The difference with this campaign, and I have some materials, is instead of just sending out a nice, please look at our YouTube video. We have videos on YouTube, by the way. We have Facebook, and again, it's being viewed by thousands of people. Instead of just saying, isn't that nice, what a nice video, we continually update it, and on the back side of the house, we have new school and old school. On the back side of the house, we still have actual human beings that when there's an inquiry, they actually talk to the person, treat them like royalty, send them any information they want, ask if they want a tour if they're coming back. So on the front side, we're using high tech. On the back side, we're using old school high touch, which is a classic idea, right? We're combining the two. And what we've done on this one, and no other city in Iowa has done this, no other community is, we're using a tool called MZ, and I have again information I'll leave you. And MZ, depending on how you look at it, is either really, really slick or it's kind of creepy, and it works like this. I'll pick on John. John and I went to high school together. If John would have left Dubuque, moved out to the East Coast, working for an insurance firm out there, if John's on social media anywhere and he has listed that he grew up, went to Waller, went to college somewhere, this tool is creepy, where it scrapes every social media site, and I can tell you, you can get a list of human beings who used to live in West Dubuque or Dubuque, went to school here, live out where they are, actual list of names and numbers, and we're following up. Those 6 or 7 companies we've tested this with are blown away by it. You can actually get that information, and it's, yeah, so what I'm trying to tell you tonight is your community is already doing great. Our campaign that we launched on the 15th isn't about just Dubuque. It's big life, small city, and it means you don't have to give a thing up to move back. And so I just wanted to let you know you're going to be a piece of this, and you're going to see inbound out of it. And so keep your foot on the gas out here. We need you to keep doing stuff like this. So if you have any questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I said 3 minutes or less. I go over that a lot, and I can hand you materials out just so you have them. And we ask you to share it with anybody. You don't have to be a business. You know a kid or a classmate you went to school with, tell them to come back.
Dan, is there anything that we can do to help support that?
Absolutely. So on the back side, I know your Peosta website, it looks great. You have lots of good information. On the back side, there's a way where you can easily flip. The tech people in my office working with your staff you can hitch your wagon on the back side of this. So anytime someone pulls this up, they hit it, and they're gonna see these wonderful, beautiful images. They're gonna have information. We have footage of sundown. I mean, it's not just Dubuque. So the short answer to a short question is absolutely, it's easy to do, and I can probably follow up with Whitney if I needed to, but yeah. We need everybody to be sharing this. The organic push on this has been just the amazing part, where people are sharing it unpaid and viewing it, so. And then I'm going to leave this with staff for the record. So this is the old school. If John Kraft calls and says, hey, I really want to come back, and it's not just mom, this is where the old school, they actually get this packet in the mail, they get a phone call from a real person. So it's not just the tech side, and I'll leave this so you have it here.
Yeah, and so later in the agenda, we're going to be talking about our rebranding proposals. So this would be something, when our rebranding is complete and we can have some nice materials, we would love to get those in the hands of GDC, so particularly if somebody expresses interest in the suburbs, or they know they want to be part of the schools. We would love to jump into their program and fit in however we can.
I didn't know if I was supposed to ask to approach. I just kind of came up here. So.
No, you're all right.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
It's be fun. Buckle up. This guy. If you don't have any other questions, thank you for your time. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Dan. Okay. Employee health insurance renewal, Adam Kearns.
Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, health insurance won't be that dynamic compared to where the chamber's heading. But did anyone receive a copy of this in their packet? Then I'm assuming yes. Okay. Any questions before I dive into it? Okay. So really, with the way the renewal came out this year, presented one option, and it was to renew. We got a 6.13% increase. Last year we explored the options to extensive length, and what we came to find out is if you move to the Affordable Care Act, which that would be the next step, and I can talk a little bit about other steps as well, is we would take a really significant increase. Okay. The great thing is legislation continued the passage of what's basically called transitional reinsurance, where way back when the Affordable Care Act was passed in 2010, it was said, hey, if you want to keep your plan, you can keep it. Well, the reality is the way it was written, the law, you really couldn't. And so then they had to write a new law and say, hey, we're going to grandmothered is what the plans were called, to keep people their plans in place, and then they keep pushing that or kicking that can down the road. So it's actually been extended through 2020. Okay. And so I think, last year we looked at like 40 to 50% increases, depending on what plan was selected, of course, to move to the Affordable Care Act compliant plans. Okay. And every year, medical associates, they share what we paid in claims and what we actually paid in premiums. Over the last 3 years, I'm going to start with the latest. It was about 140% to 145 the last couple of years. Meaning we paid in, easy math, $100,000 in premium. They paid out $140,000 in claims. Okay. This past year, we paid in our amount, and we were 400 and some percent above what they paid out 400% more in claims than what we paid in premiums. Okay. So, with that being said, there's always options to look at what we call like level funding, which is self-funded for smaller groups. We have a lot of claims history with the group here, and so if we do something like that, we would probably devastate. Number one, we probably wouldn't even get it accepted. But if we were, it probably wouldn't be the best option. So we paid in lower premiums and then paid out a lot of claims. That's just insurance. Some people don't pay hardly anything in claims and they pay some premiums. That's why we have insurance to pool things together. So with that being said, the 6.13% increase I thought was really favorable with the 400% loss ratio from last year.
Now with that level funding, you can actually put mechanisms in place to make sure you only pay X amount of dollars above the premiums.
Yeah, so there's basically level funding is a mechanism that that the insurance companies put into play when the Affordable Care Act came into place. Okay, so for example, let's say we're a young, healthy group and we were forced to move to the Affordable Care Act. Those premiums, basically, what we would see here would go way up. Okay. Well, with this level funded, you have mechanisms in place. Now, I'll try not to dive too much into the weeds, but to answer your question, you would have mechanisms in place where for every single employee, and they're all structured differently, you might only have a $15,000 maximum that they would pay out for the employee, or $30,000, okay? But that's subject to underwriting, meaning they have to take applications for every employee. In the last 5 years, have you had a laundry list of things that have occurred, okay? So they do that. And so, number one, they have to accept us on those applications, and then if they do, it would be a maximum, meaning here's what your premium is going to be for the year. You're not going to pay any more than that. You're not going to pay any less. If we don't have as many claims as what they anticipated, we could get a refund back at the end of the year. Okay. I would say if you want to look at it, we can. Based off of what I see in the claims history, may not be beneficial, but it's something worth exploring. I think if we get forced to move to the Affordable Care Act, obviously we're going to explore every option at that point. So, but yeah, does that answer your question, John? Okay. Other questions on the health insurance?
You said that last few years we've been upside down on claims, right?
Correct.
So if we start seeing our claims results to turn around, we become healthier, then that might start making more sense.
Yeah. Or if for some reason medical associates come back and they give us a 40% increase next year, we hope it never happens, but then at that point, we're going to obviously explore any option we can, because then that might trigger another event. But if we start seeing our claims go back down, then yeah, obviously it would be a good option to look at things. So. Other questions at all on the health insurance?
Anybody else, questions for Adam? No, I guess we can move on to the work comp renewal.
Do you want to make a motion, or what's your?
I just thought we'd do the whole works at one time, or you want to do them separate? I thought we'd do the whole works at one time, or you want to do them separate?
Two separate.
Okay. So, get a motion on the health insurance renewal?
Make a motion to accept that. Health insurance renewal.
Karen, aye.
John,
Okay. Now we can go to the work comp.
So you guys received in your packet the work comp proposal that we put together, and this again is through IMWCA, and we've been with them for quite some time. And on this page, it walks through each individual exposure that we had for 2018. So what did we have in payroll, and what was the rate that IMWCA issued? And again, that's all state mandated, and they can deviate from that or credit from that about 15%. Okay, and then you have the 2019 exposure. Okay, that's the payroll that we are projecting, because again, this is an estimate. We don't know exactly what the payrolls are going to be until they come for audit. It'll be 2020, and then you can see what the rate is. And again, that's all set by the state of Iowa. Okay, and IMWCA is a little bit different. They're actually not regulated. It's a pool, so it's not an insurance company. And so, but they do follow the state rates, and they also follow what's called NCCI, which sets the experience model. Okay, they don't have to; they choose to. Okay, and so you can see across each class code the rates. Some of them, may have gone up a little bit. Some of them, for the most part, should go down, just because the state of Iowa decreased the work comp rates for 2019. Okay. Another thing is we had a large claim fall off our experience mod. And again, so what would happen is they're going to not look at for 2019. They're not going to look at last year, and then they're going to go back the next 3 years. Okay, a large claim fell off. Unfortunately, we added another claim onto that actually occurred in the 17 and 18 policy period, and so that's why it didn't drop way down, but it dropped 15%. So you can see the premiums actually went down roughly about $2,800. We had payrolls go up 10%, but premiums went down 14%. That's strictly due to the state of Iowa reducing the work comp rates and you guys having better claims history. Okay. Now, again, that's 15% off of the experience mod, and then about 9% off of came from the state of Iowa. Any questions on this?
Questions?
Need a motion to accept.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2019 workers' comp renewal.
Second is Caroline.
Jerry,
Karen, I.
Kathy.
Thank you all as well. Appreciate the business. So questions, if you ever have any, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay, thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay dry, drive safe.
That's going to be a struggle. It's not the drive safe, it's staying dry.
Okay, Northland Securities sewer rate increase presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Heidi Collette with Northland Securities. In the past, you've seen my colleague Jeff Heil. So we've been on the council for a little while. You will remember him. He wasn't able to make it tonight. But second best is here. So you should have in your packet something that looks a little bit like this. If you'd like some paper copies, I brought out. But today, I'd just like to talk about this sewer project we've got coming up. We're working with Karen Whitney and also with your engineer to get some of the estimates that are coming up for this project. We're still early on, so the things that we're going to look at tonight is we're going to see what that rating increase will be overall, what that as of that estimate, and what I'd like to do is get a rating increase in place for about half of that amount, and then as everything gets finalized, then we do that final rate increase. So we've taken a look at your sewer fund. Things that we look at are your past revenues, your growth in number of meters, your growth in consumption. Look at your past revenues, your expenditures, that portion of what they use. You look at the example of, somebody with a warehouse that just has, a bathroom versus a car wash. The person who uses the car wash and has that flow is going to be paying more for that project because you need expansion because you have so much flow.
Heidi, can you move up right here to the center? Because I think they're having a hard time hearing you, and we have our voice recorder that's good. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Speak up a little bit too, because the rain too. So sorry about that. Did I need to explain anything again at this point, or do I need to start over? That's okay too. So we look at a sewer increase on the sewer because those increases will be on the usage. So what we've done is we've taken a look at this $4.5 million, looked at the SRF program, which is a 20-year loan at 2%. It's the most cost-effective financing for these types of projects. If you go to the market, you're going to have a much higher rate. If you do a revenue bond, you're going to have a higher rate, you're going to have a higher coverage ratio. With the SRF program, it's required that you have 110% after your revenues and expenditures to make that payment. When you go to the market, you're looking at 135% typically. So the rate increases are higher when you go to the revenue bond. So the reasons that we looked at an SRF loan is because it is the most cost effective at this point. One of the things that I have the council consider today is how does that rate increase look like? You can put all your rate increase all on your base, you can put it all on your flow, or you can have a mixture of the two. Looking at the city of Peosta and how your revenues are currently, your just over 60% of your revenues come from your flow, and 40% come from that base. Why would you pick one or the other? Your base is, you know that you can easily project that amount. You know, I have 500 meters and I know that this X amount of dollars is going to be coming in every single month. Your flow is going to have a little bit more of your ebbs and your flows. So, but when you have that rate increase on the flow, what happens? Those who are using more are paying for it. When you put it on the base, your base increase, who does it affect more? It affects those who are on a fixed income, who can't, afford that level. So you'll see right in front of me here, this rate increase analysis shows you what your current rates are. If you have a rate increase all on your flow, that's 60-40 that you're currently at, and then all on the base. This first page here, if you see up here, say proposed rate increases residential. That's your residential rate increases. And then the next page after that is your commercial and industrial rates. So if you look at the user impacts, if you look at a user that would use 1,000, if you put all of that on the flow, their rate increase goes from $14 to $17. But if you put it all on the base, that rate increase is $43. So as you go, as you have a higher usage amount, the impacts, you start seeing that more on your higher users. Is that making sense, or
it makes sense now that you
explain? Yes, it's a lot of numbers. This is kind of condensed. The back behind here, I can talk you through the analysis too. A few things that we have considered with this project. Talking with Elvin and the city, there will be an additional $50,000 in expenditures each year. I believe that's another person. Another thing that I put in there is $50,000 going towards capital expenditures. So at the same time, we'll be able to start funding some of those repairs and things as they come up. So each time that you have a mid to larger expense, you're not having to go out and get a loan for that. So you'll be building that cash balance to pay for those things. And then also, I put at having some annual increases in place, because what happens as everything goes on, your expenses are going to get more expensive every year. Nothing gets cheaper. So in the analysis, I looked at an increase of 3% of your operating expenditures each year. So I'm going to go ahead and go to, should be page 3. This is an analysis that, for purposes, shows increases just on the base. Then you'll see the pages after that. They'll show the flow, and then that 60/40. So you see at the top, you'll have those assumptions in your meter growth, and then also those proposed rate increases. You'll see in the last year you had 2% increases. And then I'm proposing, if you do that base increase, it's all on that base increase, you see half of it in 2019 and then half of it in 2020 with an annual 1% increase to keep up with that expenditures each year. Some of your quote will take care of that on its own. The thing about having an annual increase in place, what it does is the council doesn't have to go and make this decision each year, but if your growth takes care of those expenditures, the council could go ahead and say, we'll forego our increase this year, instead of having to make the decision that you have to have an increase each year. It makes it easier than going 5-6 years down the road without having any increases in place and then having to make large increases. So just to take a look at this analysis, you'll see that green line right in the middle. The stuff on this side of it is your historical data and projections. So we look at all of your meters and your rates, the history of your revenues and expenditures. And then if you look after that, below that, you'll see the debt. You currently are paying a portion of your 2017 bond. That doesn't go towards your coverage ratio, but that'll have to be paid through 2028. Then over 20 years at a 2% rate, that's $4.5 million, and amounts to about a $276,000 payment. So paid semi-annually, interest in December, and then interest in principal in June. And you'll see below there, you'll see that capital outlays of $50,000 that help with that cash fund balance. Then along the bottom, you'll see that cash fund balance maintaining and having some growth. I know it's not a lot of fun to talk about large increases, it's large rate increases, but I want to come tonight to talk you through what the rate increases would look like at the current estimates, and to take some questions and concerns from you guys.
So basically, if you look at this chart here, right, the breakdowns,
First one or second one?
on page 3.
Okay.
Right above operating information, you got your residential at 20,000 or less users. It's your minimum bill. So basically, that's the way it's going to impact people, right? Right now, you're paying $12, and fiscal 2026 will be $43.
from $12 to $43.
This analysis is an increase on the base only.
Right.
So,
I think, yeah, the 60/40 increase is, I think, what you're really
Can you give us an example of how that's gonna
affect. Yes,
I mean, like what the, as you go,
It's actually, I think,
like
page
you're going from $12 to $43.
sure. So if you go to this page 1 right here, right now, you have a base rate of $12.09
Right.
for your residential. That overall increase for $4.5 million, you're going to go up a base increase to $24.81.
And when's that gonna occur? Because that just doubled.
So
It
that's
did
what, right, so that's what, that ordinance, you see that sample ordinance I put in there? So that's what I would suggest, and what Heidi would to do a multi-phase rate increase. So, right, so that's doubling. So whether you do it, she suggested 2 installments, and I've also done it in 3, so that's really where the council's discretion is coming in if you want to raise that. So that's going up $12 per base. So if you wanted to do $6 in January and another $6 next January, or any stat like that. We put the ordinance in place, so it will
So
outline.
it'll break it down.
It'll break it down, I mean, but it'll only be one ordinance, we can approve it all at once, but then
For
the
each.
public, everyone will know, on this date, the rate jumps to this, on this date, the rate jumps to this. So and it is impactful for everyone, and it states that you wanna get out in front of it. It's also a really important conversation for us and staff to have with the industrial park. Some of the larger users, you're now talking about major, I mean, doubling 12 and 24 stings for me, but when you're talking about like the elementary schools, a 50,000 gallon user, these are major budget changes. So that's why we're coming to you sooner, because we just would rather these are things we want everybody to have time to plan for. They understand.
and you're saying 60/40 is the better option, right?
Yeah, we've discussed it, and I've reviewed this early in the businesses actually with Heidi's firm. The second time I've been through this entire process, and in Peosta's instance, particularly, we have a massive residential growth. We also have a really vibrant industrial park. So both sectors are equally contributing to flow. Like in our case, our limits, we're not running into coli problems. It's just we have too much water. Not just it's a great thing, it's for growth, but we just have more water coming into our lagoons that are unavailable, and that is because of both our residential growth and our businesses. So the 60/40 still attributes some cost to the fact, like I like to think of the base as like the pipe infrastructure. It's gotta be there. Whether I use it or not, the city's still gotta maintain that pipe there. For all the residential lots that are filled unfilled, we have to maintain our system, whether we choose it or not. There's also a cost, like Heidi said, to those who are using the water. We also want that them to be very burdened. So the 60/40 is my recommendation, or at least some, if somebody was still led to say 65/35, or some combination rather than always or all fluid, I think works best.
So page 5 on your spreadsheet there gives you that 60/40 breakdown. You can look at that just above operating minimums again. But keep it $12, and then your max would be $26.33.
Right. And that's showing those annual increases of 1%. The rate increases I have are basically in 2020 and 2021, and then you'll have an annual 1% increase. But you're exactly right. This front page summarizes it for you, showing that, after that 2-year increase, you're going to go for residentials from that 1209 to the 2481. The usage rate is going to go from 230 to 424. And then page 2 has that same analysis for your industrial, commercial, and 20,000 plus user. That base rate is going to go from 80 doubling to 166, the usage rate from 474 to 874. If you look down below, then it shows based on the number, based on the usage, if you're a $10,000 or 20,000 or 20,000 gallons, sorry, 10,000 gallon, 20,000 gallon, what will that payment now be just for your sewer? So currently, you're using 20,000 in your commercial, you're going to be paying $175. After that, with a 60/40 increase, you're looking at $340. It is funding a major project. $4.5 million is a large project. It's also taking care of another staff member, and then also $50,000 a year for capital improvements, which is in history it's been very normal for the city of Peosta. So it's taking into account all considerations for this whole fund.
Only other decision the council will need to make, well, is how long do you want to take to get to full increase? And then also, in the spreadsheet I sent you of rates from around the area, you'll see some of them had specifically an SRF debt loan line item. It's a little bit of a sales decision to kind of, explain that chart. So if you choose to, the increase on the base, and Heidi, you might have to work out which one's this, but the increase on the base, we could choose to list specifically as that debt payment on utility. Now, the increase in the flow, we still need, some of the increase is not due to the loan, right? So we can't sell it all like that, because that would be true. Some of it is to pay for the increase because of the equipment plant, the O&M, and the additional staff. So we do need an increase that isn't earmarked exactly for that, but we could call that out separately. So that's a little bit usually swallowed a little bit easier by the public on the front end. You do run the risk though of, I guess, I mentioned to John earlier, I would never advise you to promise residents that this goes away in 20 years. There's a reason SRF chooses 20 years because a lot of their equipment and a lot of this technology has a 20-year life cycle. So we don't promise that. If Peosta continues to grow by 30% a year from now for 20 years, in 20 years, guess what? We're going to have to add 2 more clarifiers, another mixer, another. So it's certainly accurate, and it's a way that some communities choose to represent it, but 20 years from now, it might be somebody else's problem to explain that you haven't promised them this will go away in 20 years, and then 20 years. It's just not a guarantee, and nobody can foresee that. I think everyone understands that, but.
As long as we tell everybody what's going on,
Yeah.
I think it should be enough.
Yeah, so Farley and Dyersville both do that. So in that, we would really specifically take that 276 and figure out how we want to collect that on.
Is there a reason that it seems like the biggest increase is those first 2 years?
Right, and that's those 2 years where you'll see that total, those first 2 years are getting your rates in place, that you can make that $276,000 payment. The revenues are not in place to make that payment plus that coverage. So, and as Whitney said, she wants to get some feedback from you guys. Do you want to put those rate increases in 3 years, or do you want to put it in 2 years? Because those rates will have to be in place to start making that.
But increases after that are totally up to the council. honestly, it's Northland's recommendation and pretty much everyone in the industry that is great. While you do this rate increase ordinance and everybody's really going to be displeased, that you put in your last bullet is and 1% annually every year after this, so that I never have to go through this. But it also stands to reason, like I said, pipe doesn't get cheaper, nothing gets cheaper, so it continues, so everyone knows on July 1st, it's going at 1%, which amounts to pennies, really. I mean, it's just a matter of cents, you see. But that does not have to be part of what we're discussing. That's industry standard and the recommendation that you just set yourself up to keep up with costs so that you don't have to every 5 years do a 20% adjustment. Or 5%. So,
with cities without the growth that Peosta has, I'm usually looking at 2 or 3% increases. That growth is essentially needed for some of that increase that comes along.
So it's really a way of softening that 2 years of quadrupling some of this.
no, I think the one thing is this $276,000 payment may not hit until fiscal 22. It depends on whatever substantial completion happens under plan, they issue statement, and whatever the June following that is when our next payment is. So we have some time between now and probably, I would guess, that would be June of 21. June 1st of 21, is that something? I think,
Or 22, because construction's 18 months, and if we don't bid it until 20, we will complete it until 21. So first payment will probably be June 2022, correct?
I think so. So that 276 may be able to be bumped back 1 year. So that means, I mean, we have some time to ease into it.
So do 3 versus the 2, make that 52 down a little bit.
Ease it a little bit, yes.
One of the reasons we look to put partially have these rate increases in place is when you're starting to get those funds in place for this project, you'll be building up that fund to lower your borrowing costs. Depending on where the fund is, it's possible that 100, 200,000 could just be a spend down in your fund balance to lower that borrowing cost. So I'm not here today just to say, hey, raise them and raise it now. But there's some cost benefits to getting those rate increases in place ahead of time instead of crunching those in to make a payment within a year. Does that make sense?
Right, so we could begin to pay some items bills when this rate increase goes into place. So that just makes that 7.5, maybe even 7.3 or 7.2 by the time we have to close for one. Because the SRF allows us to draw down what we need, and then wherever we need, once we're done spending, then that's what they'll finally have access to. You know, you guys have some thinking to do, but I just wanted to, I mean, I did a good job of rolling it out. It's just a matter of now figuring out how and when we want it to start.
Yeah, we know it's coming also. We know it's coming. Yeah. No, I mean, we know the project, you're gonna start paying for it eventually. So the sooner we start paying for it, the sooner we'll have the funds to pay it off. Yeah. But, you know, 52% is a pretty big nut right off the bat, so if we can push that to 3 years and maybe get that down to, I don't know, 40, 30. But I do like the idea of the 1% after we do get through these first couple of years. If we keep it at that. You gotta keep in mind too, we did qualify for a grant, so it could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make my business card. I know it's a lot of numbers to think about, and it's really big numbers. If something comes to your mind, go ahead, give me a call. I'd be happy to go through these numbers. I know that's, you see numbers like these the first time you see them. The second time.
You're used to seeing shotgun.
Yeah. You know, and Kathy makes a good point. This is a presentation that I will make probably a dozen times this year. And I'm just one person in the industry, so it's, you're not alone in this. You know, when you said that you know, for regulation came here, so it's not something that's uncommon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe I will draft up a couple sample ordinances. I'm thinking as I look at this now, how do you feel about like January, September, July? January of 20, September of 20, July of 21. So we really need to start in July of 21, we need to be full go, so that in June, 11 months later, we have $276 in bank. So that spaces that out. In January, that still gives us 6 months. It's not going to be, it's still going to be not a ton of noise in terms of some budgets, but we'll also be a much smaller increase average. So we're not talking about double. September is 9 months out from that, and then in July will be another. Right, and that's kind of spacing it out. I mean, it cuts fiscal years, but that doesn't matter. We can do better than that on that.
Because July 21 is when we're trying to get that done.
Yeah, so that July 21, that bullet C would stay the same, but I'm thinking about changing, rather than doing 2 weeks, only 6 months apart, if we did not January and September. January, September, July is 18 months total. From the start of the first week.
I mean, it's the companies that's really impacted by that, I think. That's halfway through the year, September.
But they would know about it. Next month, whatever you guys talk.
And how are they gonna know about it?
Well, because, so,
Unless they listen to the council meeting, or are they gonna?
no, well, I mean, the ordinance.
Huh?
Yeah.
She'll put a little bullet on the city.
Yeah, can we make it a little bigger, is what I'm saying, I mean,
I really recommend we get clear out in front of this. I have
That's what I'm saying.
2-page press release, ready to go. And
Okay.
we would do probably face-to-face meetings with maybe our 10 biggest users. Say, hey, this is coming down.
Right.
Much debate, as much debate and those give them a chance to ask questions about plans, you know, if they were looking at plans, decide if they have any changes in their operations, you know, maybe some of them want to tweak stuff. But yeah, it's not something you're going to be able to slide past them, so you might as well just get out. And it truly is something, the city eventually would have an absolute choice. The DNR's, our permit would just expire. So had we not done this, once they mailed us our new permit, it would have said, you're building new plants because your flows are too high, metals are high. So there's no chance that Peosta was not going to have to make a significant upgrade. They're waiting, DNR's as permits expire, they're just across the city. Prairie City, Grinnell, Cascade, everybody who's done it so far, it's only because the DNR told them they had to do it already. So.
Are we just anticipating that we're gonna need another employee out there? Or
well, it's not a different employee, it's just Matt's time right now is, he has to spend very little time out there because the lagoon's overtime. So it's not a different employee, it's not a new employee, it's just Matt's time will be, right now it's charged mostly to other.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, no,
okay.
no.
I thought I missed something.
Yeah, well, when I was talking to her, yeah, we don't really have to. I think the estimate is that it's 20 to 25 hours a week.
Okay.
Required.
Over there, on the ends.
Where? End of the problem.
At the top.
In the middle.
In the middle, thank you.
Yep.
So when we hold the first reading, and you probably want to hold all 3 readings for this one, we'll put out a press release and we'll talk to businesses. And you know, we can see, you know, those numbers that show other local figures, you know, that's important too. It's unfortunate that it doesn't just totally out of line with other communities that have this kind of upgrade. We still want to be the community of choice for businesses that want to come to the area.
You'll be notified if there's a tornado coming.
We'll be here together.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll have a conference on our radio.
Sorry.
We were on the tables.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna,
What's that next step there? Yeah.
Well, I'll bring you an ordinance with, if you like, for the number 3, that I'll put those numbers in an ordinance so you can see what they look like.
so we're gonna hold off on the first reading of ordinance 29.
Yeah, we don't have
Okay.
numbers, there's nothing to read
All
right
right.
now, but, on the next one.
Well, remember though, we just did that 2% increase that was in the budget, we talked about that.
Right, so this great ordinance,
This one is
so
for
the
that.
the first reading of the next ordinance, this is just for the regular annual increase.
Okay.
So yes, you can accept the reading on that.
All right. Okay, everybody good? Ready to move on? Okay, so the first reading of ordinance 2019-05, amending water, sewer, and garbage rates for fiscal year 20.
Is that other increase going to be on top of this? I mean, you're going to increase 2% every year, and then you're going to increase
Well,
the others on top of that, or
this is
not?
what was budgeted originally.
Right,
So
but
then
when-
the other, that rate that Whitney has a sample ordinance for, will take these rates and probably bump them.
Incorporate them
Right,
into,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be on top of.
Yeah,
it.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. And the garbage, we do need to get increased because that rate will change with by county. But then that'll just be an automatic 2% increase from here on out. And
Okay.
then once we have to do a new contract, then we can revisit that, we can do that.
So then, should we do it all together as one, maybe like next meeting, or is this?
She wants this done now, right?
Yeah, I think we did
This-
it last year. We did it last year. So this is an annual, right, starts July 1st.
This includes water, sewer, and garbage.
Yes, and I guess, I believe we should go ahead and do this because really the terms of whether are uncertain if something happened, you decide you can wait until July, then that's fine. You should have those options, but this is just part of the normal operations.
Is that an increase on the base or the total, all of the costs?
Make a motion for ordinance, first reading of ordinance amending Title 5, Chapter 5, Section 658, 659, and 6510 of the Peosta Municipal Code.
A second. Jerry,
Karen, I.
Kathy,
Okay. Branding proposals.
All right, these are all included in your packet. We discussed this really briefly at the,
Thank you, Heidi.
yes, no, you
Thank you.
I know I talked about this briefly, this is kind of one thing I've been really looking forward to doing. So I solicited 3 proposals for a rebrand for the city from Fusion Farm, Tag, and Gigantic. And then and I spoke with each firm individually when I got the proposal, shared information, and then I pulled Jerry in as the subject matter expert, and he was able to have a telephone conference with 2 of them, and then we discussed the outcome of the proposals, and we were sort of separately and then together into an agreement that Fusion Farm is the best fit for this project. I know it is the most costly proposal, but for professional services, I mean, the city's not obligated to take the low bid, and in this instance, I really think they're gonna be a good fit for what they need. So their full proposal is included, and I don't know if Jerry, you want to share any of your thoughts?
Yeah, so one thing to keep in mind here, if you do look at these 3 different proposals or estimates, Gigantic and what's the other one? Tag. So those are just getting you the brand. And if you're familiar with the process and how the brand works, by finding out what your brand is, that's physically this company going out and reaching out and talking to people other than you, because we all know what Peosta is to us, right? We're gonna find out what everybody else thinks Peosta is, and they're gonna come back with that kind of information, and that's what we're paying Tag $10,000 or $7,000 to do, okay? So when you add that in, or put that into perspective, Fusion Farm puts that in there as $3,500, basically. Because and then they give us the logo and then identity style and everything with it. So Fusion Farm takes the whole package and puts it together, where with Tag and Gigantic, you'd have $7,000 to get the initial. All you get is a packet that would basically say, this is what everybody thinks Peosta is. And then you pay $5,000, $6,000 possibly for the logo and the tagline, if you thought you would want to keep going with them. So that's kind of the way that whole process works.
Does any of these deal with the website?
Yeah, so these proposals specifically don't deal with the website. Different ones of them have a capacity to continue into the website if you want. So, and we specifically asked questions about that. I guess my feeling is that I would like to work with them and get some ideas and recommendations, I think, about how much we need to invest in our website. Because we could spend as little as a couple $1,000s of creating our website, probably up to like 15, depending on what the council wants to see, what we want to see. I mean, there's the ability now to, make everything electronic, permitting, utility sign. So we'll have to determine how far we want to take all that. But a website can also be your number one recruiting tool for businesses, for residents.
Just gonna ask you, when you first looked at our website, what did you think?
I think it looks like a city's website. Because I started to dabble in this branding stuff, you can sort of see cities, it's like the haves and the have-nots. So the cities had a grasp onto this. We have to brand ourselves. We have to conduct ourselves on the front end like a business so we can appeal to residents. They're the ones who have gone through this process and shifted into that. So I mean, see the city of Cedar Rapids, city against the metros. I mean, they're super competitive with each other. Particularly in the Des Moines area where you have so many. So I mean, their environment has forced them into that. But I think that we also can really benefit by that campaign that he's talking about. I mean, that GDC was talking about. That's fantastic for us. But I want when insurance professional out in New York City and Manhattan decides they want to move back and they pull up our website, I want it to be more representative of our population. That's what I say. Our website is good. It includes a lot of information, which is more than you can say for other communities, but it isn't, we have a young professional community with a lot of young families, a lot of amenities, and I don't know that that's necessarily represented on our website. So
It should be visually appealing when you...
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I just look forward to our website matching what Peosta really is. Same thing with the brand. I mean, I just look forward to it all being tied together because we really have a great product. Some communities have to work really hard to polish up something that's not the greatest. We have the opposite problem, so it puts us in a great position to capitalize on that. But I think this is, $11,000 is what we budgeted for it. It'll be money well invested, and this will, slowly filter its way onto everything: business cards, apparel, front door, vehicles. So they're aware, and most cities do more of a soft rollout. Sometimes big companies, principal or no mutual, they like to do spend $1 million to take everything down and put it up in the same day. So these firms are aware that will not be the case with us. And Fusion Farms has worked with other municipalities. They represent the city of Cedar Rapids. They've also done some school districts, so they're familiar with that. And I like the idea that they're from Cedar Rapids because I think, not Cedar Rapids, that they're not from this exact area, because I really wanted to dive into what makes Peosta different than Asbury or Epworth or Dubuque. So I think they'll be able to draw out some of those advantages that we can present. I also think a big advantage of rebranding the website will be a come do business in Peosta portal, which will hopefully be helpful to developers and and people that are recruiting or making other business contacts. So that information about existing programs, existing incentives, those kind of things are readily available.
Well, I think it's important because, what's the first thing you always hear something, you jump online and just Google it and see what pops up.
It's the face of the city, really. That's what it is. So, and I think, just from being on the park board too, by having a brand, a visual identity for the town, actually tying in the community center and all the different departments under one brand and logo, I think one tagline, and this Fusion Farm give you a total package for what you're paying for. The other ones you're going to have added ons and stuff. And just by having the identity style guide, the logo and the tagline, that's what we're looking for. So
we just went through a rebranding where I work, and And one of the big things they told me is make sure that we get all files.
Yeah.
Because it's about a place where it's an extra fee to get your.
Yes.
Get
We
these
got
files.
it.
I'm trying
And
to-
your resident expert was,
All over that.
yes, he posed that question, vector files, all kinds of words I didn't even know what they meant, but he already started to, so.
And these guys, Fusion Farm has done cities like she said. The other ones that I talked to, Tag hasn't, so this should be the first, and I like, we don't want to be the guinea pig for something like this. So. I think it'd be good for the city. Going to be a soft rollout. I mean, we've got a lot of things that would need to be corrected and changed over time, but give it kind of a revitalized look, I think.
So do you want to make a motion?
So do we need a motion on one?
Yeah, we just.
Yes, if there, would accept a motion to accept the Fusion Farm proposal.
I'll make that motion to accept the Fusion Farm proposal for the rebranding.
I'll second.
Caroline?
Jerry, I.
Karen, aye.
Kathy, aye.
John, aye.
Okay. Last but not least.
You saved the best for last time.
That's part of what I need to talk about. So to kind of fall in from the signage discussion that just went on, one of the discussions was to get finally get a park sign up. We've had a temporary sign up there. It is no longer there. It's washed away with everything else. It's kind of over there. So we did discuss we'd like to do some kind of a temporary sign. We've got proposals. Jerry's created some. But knowing that down the road, we want to make sure that all the parks are tied together. We need firemen's, the ballpark out here. We kind of want to have that signage all follow the same theme. We may want to put some kind of a temporary, more temporary sign than what we had. It was a printed sign, correct?
There's a banner.
Yeah, so unfortunately that's no longer there. It didn't survive the polar vortex, so like a lot of things didn't. So that's one of our things we need to follow up on. What I really needed to talk about was a chunk of stormwater, let's say direction. I brought to last year that we were going to do the project with the flex mat through the watershed program. Unfortunately, that's kind of taken a full circle. They've come back and basically stated that we needed to adopt some watershed ordinance, and Jerry knows a little bit more about that in the city before they will technically fully fund that project. So yeah, I can see by the look on your face. We started this a year ago and we thought it was fully funded, and I think there's more to the story, but the moral of the story is right now they're not going to fund it until that happens. They're not even going to look at it again until that happens. So I talked to Dean a little bit more in regards to the NRCS, which is the engineering firm that the watershed uses to create those designs for the flex mat, and the watershed committee themselves both agree that the flex mat is the right product for that. We looked at alternatives like riprap and stuff like that, but like the rains we're having now, that riprap would just be down at the bottom of the hill, and Dean's going to have to pull it all back up, Dean and crew. That's not something that the city wants to partake in. So we still feel that's the right way to go, but we're going to ask, I want to throw out a couple ideas that Dean has brought my way, was to extend the storm sewer on Arma Court. So the plastic tube that we put in last year to get a spot to where we could drive over into the middle of the park. We're talking about extending that another 80 feet down the ravine. That would be the first ravine.
Doing plastic again?
Yeah, and just taking that water 80 feet down. So what does that do? You're thinking, well, why didn't we do that before? Well, we thought that all this funding was going to happen with the flex mat. We were just going to stop it there. The 80 feet will get us down past hole 9.
So the disc golfers themselves can walk over. That's one benefit. The other benefit would be just less Flex-Mat if the city has to take on that cost. So it's cheaper to put the pipe in than it is to put the Flex-Mat in. So
When Pat was here, they had talked about a drop box and a flat pipe running down there.
So we already put the drop box in.
You did do that,
So
okay.
the drop box got put in last year with approximately, don't quote me on it, but I think it was like 50 feet to get us down. So we dropped it already from Arma to slow the velocity down, and then put the pipe in.
Okay, so you're talking about extending that now.
We're just talking extending that pipe down the ravine a little bit further and covering it, so we don't have to put Flex-Mat in.
All right.
You can walk across it too then.
Yeah, so then you can just walk across, it'll be a mobile path. So there's 80 feet of that. And then we also talked about the entrance into the park is a very narrow entrance, especially when we got the Western View kids in with the buses. Our groups pulling trailers in and stuff, and the city themselves pulling trailers in. I agree with Dean, and we probably should put another 20-foot section there and make that entrance a little bit wider so that we don't have to retrieve anybody from the ditch that may not make it into the park. So again, there's basically, like I said, a 100-foot extension on Arma Core, 20-foot extension in the entrance. The product basically in total would be $4,860 just for the plastic pipe to do those two jobs. Unfortunately, when I looked at the cost, I will have to verify this with Dean, but I thought that was just the plastic pipe, so I don't know if his labor is involved in that on both the pipe projects. The other pipe project would be off of Mila. There is a concrete culvert that comes out on the last lot on the east side of Mila that runs down into the third fork in the park. He's been wanting to extend that about 64 feet to slow that erosion out, basically, so we only got a straight shot of that Flex-Mat. It also allows us to help that neighbor's yard. The corner of their lot's really been hampered by the way where we stopped the pipe. The city originally stopped the pipe. So 64 feet of concrete pipe was approximately $7,074 to put that pipe in. And then the last phase of what I asked Dean to look at this year was seeding the mud down if we can ever get in there, if there's going to have to be any mud left. We went down a rock after this one. But he's got $2,500 in seed. So grand total of those three projects was $14,434. Now, again, that was the seeding was his estimate for seed and labor. The other two, I understand he wasn't able to come because of his surgery, but I don't know if that had his labor in it. So I don't know if the $14,000 included the labor on the two pipe projects. So I guess I would estimate, if I'm going to give you an estimate on this end, it would be $20,000 to $25,000 total out of the park fund that we have today to do those.
So you have to widen the gate down there too when you put more pipe in, or?
The question is, we don't think we need to widen the gate. That's just more so we can swing. Swing and hit that. Don't have to take such a sharp turn off the Cox Springs.
Okay.
That entrance is included in this?
Yes. That was 20 foot of that inch. So there was 120 feet of pipe. 100 of it was to extend Arma, and the other 20 foot was just to widen the entrance.
How much we have in that fund left? 20,000 or
Did you
something?
make that transfer already with me? I think so. I thought it was closer to like 40 or 50 left.
And that, Whitney, is that till July?
Yes, yeah, in July, we budgeted for another $100,000 dedicated to the park.
So that we have
That park or whatever?
Well, just dedicated to parks, right, that's correct.
But this is it for this park as far as this year. I mean, cleaning up and stuff, right?
Well, and I've got a discussion topic down. We'd like to do and I can kind of explain the overview, we'd like to do the pavilion bathroom if possible, but I don't know if we're even gonna get to that yet this year. That's the group's plan, but I think we're gonna get the design done, but I don't think we're gonna get that. So it will probably be it.
Could even talk a little more on the design side of it too, if you want.
Yep.
On the MSA, IIW.
Yep, so that's part of my scratching.
Life reserves are 62,778. Do we have a negative? We have a little bit of negative balance in the LAOs. So about 62,000 remaining.
So right now, I don't believe there's any on top of this 20 to 25,000. The disc golf company is going to send our signage in, which I need to get verified. I forgot to send those to Jerry, but we do have the current City of Peosta logo on there that we've discussed as a group. We're just going to pull that off and leave the Kelly Oaks signage on there for now. Everybody knows it's in the City of Peosta, so I think because of what we're going through with the branding, I think we're just going to pull that off of there for now, and then we're going to get those printed. But I'm pretty sure we already paid for that. I need to check back with Kelly, but I'm pretty sure we've already paid for that. We just we just got to get that sent our way. I don't know if they're going to hit us with shipping, but I'll follow up on that one. So any questions? I know you were probably anticipating, we said we were going to do creek stabilization this year, but unfortunately that took a back burner, so we're just kind of sidetracking and trying to extend these down to shorten it, because if we decide that the city, you know, if the watershed, if that group comes back and says, yeah, we'll help fund you, but the city needs to help step in, we figure if we shorten these ravines, it's a less cost for both parties. They may come back and say they'll finally fund it, and it'll be less yet, so it may be easier to push. I think it's the right move for a gamut of things.
And from my conversations being on the Catfish Creek board, they're over budget, considerably over budget, 200,000 over for the amount of money they have for this year. So they're trimming back on all kinds of different funds, projects that they have going, and they're looking at larger city projects that are 100% funded, like this one, and they're looking more to do like a 70-20. You know what I mean? So they're looking at different things. And a couple of meetings back, the board noticed that we didn't have a stormwater ordinance. And we've been working on a stormwater study to get the ordinance adopted. And I've been asking IIW to get me just any type of draft so we can get this to them, so we can get this done, you know, approved to the board, the Catfish Creek board, that, hey, we're going to adopt one. We're in the process of doing that. And then that'll just get us over that hurdle, but that put us back another year, basically.
So I think there was a gamut of things that set us back on that one, but it's just one of the many hurdles that the volunteer group has run into. But we just got to work through it. So our proposal is to do those extensions. And Dean was full support of it. Dean was the one who put the quotes together, so he was obviously in support of that from the city's perspective. So
we need a motion to fund that?
Yeah, that would be fine. It's not required, but whatever you best for.
Yeah. Not to exceed 25,000?
What does that have his labor in it, do you know?
I don't know if his labor was in his number. I've got to believe it was. But
It's my understanding that it was.
So it's 14.4 is what those numbers all come up to. I just said it could be 20 to 25.
What labor was it?
If the flavor's not there.
But you're thinking what it was?
I think it was.
It might have been. I just
So not to exceed, like you said,
Yeah.
or something, or 25,000.
Yeah, if we do a not to exceed, that's kind of where I was gonna go, and then I'll just call Dean and ask him what. I don't think he's gonna buy anything else with it.
I'll make a motion to approve these funds not to exceed $25,000.
I'll second.
Caroline.
Karen, I.
Kathy?
John,
So a couple of quick last minute things. The group is still continuing to meet monthly. We have estimates on electrical through the park. Now, we don't know what that is. We've kind of put the estimate together as lighting the part of the pathway. I do have estimates on bridges, 3 bridges from Design Structures, Peosta, an estimate on those costs. We've also got cost estimates on both rock and asphalt for the path, the walking path, and asphalt for the parking lot. And we're getting estimates on pavilion. So what I'm getting at, I will not give numbers, but what I'm getting at is the group has put their efforts together to getting the comprehensive plan together, which goes into the next conversation. We've reached out to 2 engineering firms, IAW and MSA. I'm going to create, with the help of the rest of our committee, basically a scope of work document that lays out clearly what we need for engineering. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I need apples to apples comparisons so we can determine which engineering firm we want to go with. So bridge abutments, trail path for asphalt at a later date so they know that path needs to be meet certain specs. Just give clear understanding of the scope of what's the rest of the project, and then an overall layout or sketch of what this park is going to look like. So I've asked them I'm in the process of drafting that. I will send that around to the rest of the group, and then we'll give that off to the engineering, or give that off to the engineering firms and get a quote back from them on what we expect. I've already been getting several questions from both firms for obvious reasons. They know right now I'm just going for quotes. But I'll leave that at that. So as soon as I get that information back, we'll hopefully have that for our next meeting, which is end of next month, I believe. And then I'll have more to follow on that. So with that, really don't have a whole lot more to discuss unless there was anything. I know we did want to open it up from the group. Like I said, we've got MSA and IAW. Is there any problems with that, or is the volunteer group, we just pick those 2 to look at? We know that we use IAW quite a bit, but I'm assuming everybody's okay with us getting quotes from someone else.
The whole reason why MSA was brought to the board is because they specialize in it. It's kind of like doing a CIP. We've been down that road already with a company that doesn't know how to do CIPs. We pay for it, so that's why I thought we'd bring it up.
The only reason I'm asking is I don't want to spend volunteer time to be working with them if we're not going to be allowed to. They're very anxious about it. I mean, talking with them, they've done several parks. They've actually been to a couple of our meetings, so I figured we just give them a vote and see where they're at. But I've made it very clear to them that we want engineering numbers on this, this, and this, and there's no fluff in what number we're asking for, and that'll be how we determine which one we want to go with. And obviously, it'll probably grow from that once we get into the project. But that way, we at least got apples to apples comparison. Other than that, the park's going well. Unfortunately, just a few setbacks. This weather has set back a lot of things other than just the park, but I can only imagine. So, if not, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Okay, other business and correspondence?
We got some
What
playground.
about playground?
We did actually talk about playground as well in that last meeting too.
Did Cindy,
Yeah, I got a whole packet from Cindy. I'm waiting on a couple.
couple.
Cindy Breaker?
Breaker, yeah. She She has, and actually Kelly's got just books of playground equipment and everything. But Fry is the manufacturer of the one that we currently have over here, and I have a call into them. They haven't got back to me, obviously, with the holidays and everything. But I want to get their breakdown of what the quote would be like. It's going to be similar to this Cunningham, that Cadillac version, I'm going to call it. Of the
You might want to go back to them because they had a very specific thing that they were told to do, and they went by that.
Well, I just kind of want to.
Or did you get another one?
So there's two things that we talked about at that meeting last time. You know, the railroad right of way, where the park is right now, and where the actual swing set and the play sets are, is right on the edge of the railroad right of way. But you go 50 foot, which we have there, towards Peosta Street, and then down towards the parking lot a little bit. It will get us out of that right of way of the railroad, and then would open up a opportunity to possibly get grant funding for this. A little bit more
Is
money,
there,
hopefully.
has the railroad said anything?
No, but
There's grants that if they basically won't get them if you're on railroad property.
Oh,
So
okay.
even if
You have to be on your own property.
yeah, Dan Fox told us that right away, so we pulled it up, and it just by moving it down, and you know, if we're taking it all out, redoing it anyway, what's to move it 50 feet one way? It's
doesn't
not
look
that
like
big a
shit
deal.
far.
So we have a little bit more to come from that, but our group, I think, is going to be doing a good job is getting the numbers and everything. So if we're not in that big of a rush to get it done, I think we'll be able to get some.
Don't put it off too long.
No, we won't.
Because we're gonna have to take it out, is the only thing, because it may not last the summer.
It may not last this summer.
It's got these sharp edges where the rubber coating broke off.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's got all these sharp edges where the rubber coating broke off.
Where at? Because I was walking through that just the other day.
Did you look at the
Right there on the
frame?
platform as you're going up on the little
Oh,
part, John.
flat platform.
Yeah, the
See,
flat
Pat
platforms.
fixed a part of it, but the rest started all chipping too, and it's sharp. It's really sharp.
It's rust underneath the rubber, is what it is, basically.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's separated off with the steel.
But if you walk around the platform there in the back, there's real sharp edges. And the ladder's broke. I don't know whether it can be fixed or not. And then the dome somehow got broke.
As far as funding on this, we also have, I think they said, what's the number? I said they had about 25,000 from the Peosta Days Fund. They want to be part of this. They want to show the community that the money that people are spending at that Peosta Days is going to stuff like this in the community.
Yeah. Well, Cindy had, what other places around the area paid for, like Epworth, that paid for different swing set structures, playground structures like this, and 60, 70,000 is not out of line at all. Actually, it's pretty much in the ballpark, so I really want to Fry, since we do have that already existing equipment here in Peosta already. I'd like to kind of keep pieces together. If we got an issue with the company, it's nice to have, hey, this park's got the same stuff as this. You know what I mean? So we're not searching different companies. And they might come back 5 times more expensive, but I'd like to make that kind of, just to ask them at least to see what they come back with a quote. But we have, you know, game time basically, because we laid that out. Cunningham Recreation at 70,000, so.
Well, that was, you know, like I say, I gave them very specific parameters. So they could have probably done a lot better with something else.
Well, it's like a Cadillac, you know what I mean?
It was
There's
just,
some things out here like the
they just tried
stuff
to
you
get.
can take out.
Yeah, they just tried to get as close as, if you're looking at the one that I got.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, they tried to get as close to what we had, but they couldn't get a lot of it the same. But that was, they were gonna take out the old one, prep the whole works on the ground, and put the new one in too. And like, and they needed 10 more feet in order to come to comparable to what we had. But, you know, if you were gonna get another one, I wouldn't be afraid to get one from them and then tell them, you know, what you want done, because they don't have to do all of it. And they don't have to take the old one out, most likely. But if you like Fry, I don't care. You know.
No, I just want to get another quote from.
It'd be good if you know, you had everything from the same place, I guess.
Community cemetery.
Yeah, Fry's the one that's over there.
Okay. What do the schools have, do we know?
I don't know what the school has.
Yeah.
I don't know what Seton has. Peosta Elementary does not have much.
Does it?
Which one was
I
it?
guess the group site, like Jerry just reiterated, I mean, because Kelly Oaks Park would put something in there, so the theme would be to try it. I mean, I know you don't put all your eggs in one basket all the time, but from a maintenance standpoint, it seems kind of nice to, if you need a part, you're going to one area to get the pieces, but obviously the cost is ridiculous. That's the
I was wondering if we could refurbish what we take out in part
This kind of,
and put it somewhere.
there might be a possibility of getting liquidation play structures. I mean, they're mismatched. You'll have like pink, purple, blue pieces together. But Epworth did it, and they only paid $20,000 for their entire set.
And that was special needs too, wasn't it?
I don't know if that was special.
That was all inclusive, I think, Cindy
Is that
said.
one in yet, Jerry?
I think it is. Yeah, she said it was over there. So
That's out at the,
The one behind like Fidelity Bank.
it's mismatched colors and everything.
No. it's
They haven't got it in yet,
the
that's just starting
one
on.
Where the old school used to be, right?
oh, Tower Park?
Yeah, they just got the grant to start on. It isn't out.
Across the street from the
That's where.
Yeah.
we played that.
Is that all inclusive?
No, but all-inclusive opens up a whole another can of worms.
Yes, it
That's
does.
what she
We all
wrote
inclusive, you
down.
have to have the mat, the rubberized mat,
Yeah.
and that is a 6-figure.
And that's why she thought that'd be the only place in town to do it.
No.
Because of the level ground.
Actually, the best place we kind of talked about is adding it right over here by
She
the ball
says
fields.
too far
No.
to reach. It sounded like she researched it quite a
Well, you
bit.
could park right there and everything's flat. There's no steps, no nothing, right over here by the ball fields.
Yeah,
And
she
you could
just
wheel
said it
right
was-
down to it.
She said the problem with it was that it was too far to go with the mats. Because it seemed, unless she was thinking another one down farther or something.
No, because you could probably, so there's different things to this all-inclusive. You can do the merry-go-round, which allows wheelchairs and everything. And there's different types of play sets. Obviously, we're not going to do a huge play set.
So
we
you
just do
talked
some-
to her then that night?
Yeah, we
Because
talked about all
when I
this.
talked to her earlier, she thought that they'd have to go too far with the mats up here. Because she had considered up here.
No, we talked about it up here, and the group pretty much thought that this would probably be the best spot for it, but we wanted to focus more on what's going on down there, get more quotes and
Yeah.
figure that out, and see what grants are available if we're able to move it over. Dan Fox is doing that.
Did he have any idea of how much that would be, maybe?
Grants?
Grants?
He sent over an analysis afterwards, though, that really grants for just play structures are not terribly successful. DRA generally throws a little bit of money, 10,000 maybe, at them. The Epworth and the other community, I can't remember who you included, they,
Mott just got one.
That just got some.
yeah, they earned the majority of the money to pay for the parks were from private fundraising campaigns, not grants. You can tie them in a little bit better when you're trying to do more of a larger plan that has kind of a little bit more of a wellness twist, like a trail also. Do it just to buy the straight equipment limits you a little bit in terms of the grant. So
what if there was like one of those outdoor, some of those walking paths have the outdoor fitness stuff
right
on them?
yeah, and there's some that have.
What about something like,
They have there's like musical equipment segments that they can put in that are branched into a little bit of that arts and culture. So Bellevue and Preston both had their totals, each of their totals were there's 113,000, 117,000. And private donations made up more than 50% of that total cost.
That's what he said. You have better chance of going for private donations or donations period than to get a grant, so.
So they had some grants, like a Kaboom grant, which will work if you use the Kaboom, you have to use their equipment. But, they got like a $500 public health grant. They each got a Parks to People grant, $1,000 Tyson's grant, so And we have time, and that's certainly, those are certainly amounts we can capture. That's not an option if it needs to go in this summer. But, yeah, I know DRA is really involved in the Epworth project, so they were involved out here, so there's, yeah, and integrating some other features would help our chances of success.
Do we know how much of these we can do ourselves and how much it'll have to be the company doing it?
So the company I spoke with, which were the quotes included, I told them to plan on our staff doing the deconstruction and the removal of the wood chips if we decided to go with rubber chips, but I still had them quote, or the install as the line item out. Now I know Jerry was a volunteer that installed this one up here, is that correct? That's
George, remember George?
Yeah.
Installed that one.
So I think it can be done. I think though it depends on the size of the set. At a certain point, I would be a little nervous about liability. I mean, if we're getting higher and bigger, it might just be a little. I mean, there's a reason they charge $8,000 or $9,000 to install it.
Well, liability falls on us, something happens, something gets hurt.
Yeah. I think there might have been, you gotta check with Stacy, but there might have been a representative there helping us do that, so. I'm pretty sure there was.
So we want to keep looking?
Can I say something about Camp Drive? I know we talked about it at the last meeting. Do you want to wait until the wastewater is in? It's pretty rough. It's the roughest street in town. I'd like to see something done with grinding like that, but that thing is way out of line. When you drive on that, all you hear is pop, pop, pop from the tires. So I was wondering if we could speed that up. What we could do to maybe to expedite that a little bit quicker. But that street is ridiculous. It's the worst street in town. And it brings in the most money. So I'd like to see something happening before this. You're looking at 3 years, I won't make it. So that's my only complaint.
When we have, maybe have Dean take a look at that and see.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk to the experts and see if there's something we can do to help that surface out to survive. But yeah, and certainly over the course of the 3 years, it's only going to have a lot of heavy equipment on it, so it's not going to, it will deteriorate at a quicker than usual rate once the plant starts going in, so.
Last time we brought this up, Dean was hoping that China's patch would possibly help, but I don't know if it's thick enough to do the bumps like we're talking, so.
Some of them are an inch off.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But it seems like once you get past Premier, it's really broken up there right by Premier. And then you go up the hill on that flat spot up there, but the plastic, it's pretty bad. So, I think grinding would be a short term, but it would take care of it. I don't know what the cost
Yeah,
of
that's
that.
true. We don't have to worry about whatever we're doing doesn't have to last for 10 years.
It's a pretty rough road, so if you take it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I have some complaints about it, so I'll bring it to your attention.
All right.
Like I said, the only complaint I got.
Thanks, AJ.
Take care.
Do we have anything in place as far as for Kalios for open containers? Because I know with like disc golf and stuff, you're gonna have a lot of people over there bringing coolers with them, and which it is what it is. That's your guys' decision what you want to do. Because I stopped over there before, just using porta potty that's there, and there was a bunch of like beer cans or margarita can things in the actual porta potty itself. So I have a feeling that's just going to probably get worse with time. I didn't know if you guys want to put something up for that, or if you're going to allow it.
With drinking while you're playing, or?
Yeah, well, and then if you get the pavilion up there, you're probably going to have parties and stuff, so I'm sure that
Have to be addressed
there will be
at that point.
events that there's something, like if you allow that, I don't know. I mean, that's
Have you
something-
noticed kids over there at all? Besides the disc golf, just, you know,
I haven't
congregating?
seen- I mean, I haven't seen them, but it's a little bit, I mean, you don't see it as often from where I'm at normally, unless
Right.
they're pulling specifically in. But I think as more stuff gets done, there's gonna be a lot more kids that go there, there's gonna be a lot more people that go there.
We put a pavilion up, people are gonna wanna have a graduation party,
Yeah.
or whatever, and they're gonna wanna have.
You can drink in city parks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to put or something in place, like in Dubuque, they have the city parks, you can't have like keg beer or liquor or anything like that.
Glass.
Glass or something like that, we'll have to put something in place.
Right.
Whatever we do, we should tie into all the rest of the parks though in town, so.
Yeah.
Just do it for that, you know, if they have anything.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's hours on the parks, right? Aren't they closed after?
Yes, there are.
So then
We do
that,
have hours already.
I do. I don't remember what they are.
We do.
It's great, we have hours, but nobody knows what it is.
But I don't remember what it is off the pasture.
10 or
We
11.
should
I think it's
consider
10.
that a temporary sign,
Yep.
just to have something.
Just have
Yeah.
hours.
I
Yeah.
think it's 10 o'clock for some
I
reason.
think it is.
I think
the same as the
sure.
curfew.
I don't know, I think it's 10 o'clock.
They may not leave, but at least they'll get quiet after that.
But what Eric's been saying, I was gonna mention that to Dean, because we gotta get our blue trash cans out and spread out, because I picked up stuff through the park. They're not, with us not having, that's part of our plan, is to have those nice baskets and not the blue barrels, but
One at each hole, or?
I think it needs to be probably at each hole.
Yeah.
That gives enough throughout the park, because that goes along the trail then, so if you want it to look like Disneyland, it's probably about every 25 feet they got a trash can.
Yeah.
I'd rather than put their trash in that than,
Time to pick it up and flush it down.
yeah, sitting next to the tree.
Would it be something we should look at? A little bit better, stronger trash cans for each one of those pads?
Yeah, the ones that we had looked at, they were kind of like the golf course, they're the aluminum slat deals where you put the trash can inside of it, so it's more of a,
Not an eyesore can sitting out there.
yeah.
Looks
And then if
better.
the wind picks up, it doesn't, it's not.
Keeps the animals somewhat out of it
Yeah.
from knocking it over.
That's the big thing, is to keep the animals from knocking them over, so.
You see what they got down at the fire station, right?
Yeah.
That-
Well, the fire station has just the tin
Metal cans.
Yeah.
They had a boxed in.
Yeah.
Those are just wooden boxes. They've
Metal
got,
cans.
That's not what you're looking for.
they've got the steel ones very similar to what Stacy's got around the ball field.
Oh,
They have
okay, I know what you
concrete,
mean, okay.
but I think we should find out, that should be on our agenda, to find out what we want to do, and we just, those need to be at every park, the same thing, just maintenance free.
Maybe not every hole, maybe every other.
Yeah, maybe. yeah.
Start there.
Or if there's holes that are close together, somewhere,
Yeah.
probably one of them.
Anything else on that? I got one thing, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but semis park along the ramps out here on the highway, and they're constantly throwing their garbage out there. I talked to the DOT about putting signs up, no parking signs, and they said they'd do it, but the city police department and the council had to be on board to do it. I didn't know if anybody would be interested in that. I mean, you go by, I drove by one morning, there's a guy had a big Dairy Queen bag laying outside his truck. He threw out after he ate. And different times they'll come over and they'll get 2.5 gallon jugs of Def and they'll dump it in their trucks. Throw the jugs in the ditch, or.
Do we know where our city limit lines are on that?
Well, it wouldn't have to be in city limit lines. The DOT would put the signs up.
Sure, but it would be,
But we'd have to enforce it, the sheriff's department would have to enforce it. Now, I mean, it's not like you gotta go out there and patrol, you just, if you're
no, well,
up on that
I'm just
end.
curious because it would either be a county like charge, like the city would see no kickback as far as parking tickets because we, like, that's not our limits. Because that'd be all county right there, so anything that gets enforced on county.
We'd be out to the middle of the highway, wouldn't we? No, we're not on
If you're
that?
in town right now, if you're headed north on Peosta Street. as
Oh,
soon as
okay,
you
yeah.
see the curb
Yep,
start, where
yep.
the 25-mile-an-hour sign is, that's where the city limit
Yep,
starts.
you're right.
We do have a small section of 20, but that's between Cox Springs Road and basically where our Moose Lake is.
Mhm.
Like, that's the patch, that's ours. But
Yeah.
as far as like the on and off ramps, that'd be all county, which would be fine. If you still want to put those there, I'd be able to enforce them because I'm a state officer, but city wouldn't see no kickback.
I don't think that's your point, though.
I just want to get rid of the garbage.
Just to
but
get
I'm-
rid of the parking.
Yeah,
One spot in particular by Dairy Queen there, where they always pull off heading west.
yeah.
It's,
But I've noticed it even on the off ramp on the other side
I've
going
seen
east.
the east, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what we'd almost have to get with like county and see what they use for parking tickets, because we wouldn't be able to use ours. I don't know if that's something that we could get a stack of
But you
theirs.
give them for.
Does county have to be online with it then?
You'd have to
With the
catch
DOT?
I've got to talk to him a little more to find out, but I know he said we had to be on board with it. The council had to be and the city police had to be.
Were they assuming that it was on city property though, when they said that?
I don't think, no, because I told him it was the ramps on the highway.
Okay.
I mean, I have no problem with it. I think we gotta sit down with county to see if we can get like a stack of their no parkings or, you know, how they have that set up. I'm not
Right,
100%
yeah.
certain, to be honest. So,
Well, I'll talk to the DOT a little more and see what they got to say, see who they need to be on board or,
right.
any other towns around the area doing the same thing?
I don't know if there is or not. I haven't noticed.
We're the only one outside Dubuque that has food right there where the trucks can get it.
Well, Farley
Thank
The
you.
does.
restaurants closed and trucks
Might
don't.
run into.
Yeah, Farley, they do over at Farley too, park on the ramps, but I don't pay any attention if they throw their garbage out there or not. But I've noticed it more since the Dairy Queen went in,
Yeah.
that a lot of garbage gets thrown out there
Well, they can park back
in
there
the
at
gas
gate.
station. Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of,
But then the Dairy Queen trash cans are blowing all around too.
Yeah.
Because they blew down into the truck stop, so. And the truck stop garbages get filled, so. We're fighting those in bad.
almost hate to put a no parking sign up for truck drivers because if they're pulled over as a general thing, they're tired.
But they've got that parking lot out behind the gas station.
Yeah, why
It
is
fills
it?
up.
That's what it's
They're on the highway.
meant for.
If they'll
Larry, it's full.
It
You
fills
can't
up
get in
and the
there.
truck stop.
No, different times I've driven by though, and there's trucks parked on the shoulder and there's nothing, or there's 2 or 3 parking spots in the,
Only because they just opened up.
yeah, well, I don't
I
know.
find it every night, dude.
I mean, if you talk to the DOT, the Interstate Commerce,
They're only allowed 12 hours.
Their driving time.
the truck stops are
That's all
all filled
truck
up.
stops.
They're all
I mean,
just
they have no
done.
Well,
budge time.
it makes me no difference, but it looks bad.
If we could put
Lot
up
of garbage.
a sign for littering with a great big huge fine and say camera in use.
Take some cans and tie them up to a pole there and give them a spot to put their garbage.
Yeah, we'd have to put poles in. But they're not gonna do
They're
that
not getting out of
either.
the
They're not
truck.
gonna get out, once they get in that truck, they're not getting back out to put that garbage in a can.
They're just throwing.
Yeah,
It might get out to be too. Maybe we need somebody to adopt the stretch of highway. I don't know who we'd get.
were you volunteering, Karen?
You know,
What about the local Boy
that's
Scouts?
not a safe place.
Schofield.
I don't know, because of the traffic, because we've asked them about planting the flowers in the roundabout, and they can't do that either.
Who takes care of the adoption?
Some of the stuff they threw out of their trucks, I would want.
You don't want those,
I'm not sure,
no.
to be honest.
Cindy knows.
Cindy does?
I know they do a
Cindy
ton
knows.
on the Mile Hill, but I'm not sure who does that actually.
I think stores and stuff will,
It's different
maybe,
groups, isn't
maybe
it?
Dairy Queen ought to adopt it.
This highway cleanup sponsor,
Well,
Walmart.
there'll be a sign that
Yeah,
says, you know,
yeah.
this is-
It's 2 miles.
yeah.
They might have done away with that program.
So So is there, another switching subjects here, I've noticed that there's some equipment, heavy equipment kind of parked around town that's for sale. Is there anything that we can do to clean that up?
I had that exact thought. What about the parking that we were talking about, the 48-hour rule?
That was on the street.
Yeah.
Where are you talking about?
But-
I'm talking about the Gary Miller stuff.
Right, the ordinance says residential lot though. Right?
Yeah, but that's in the CD, what is that, CD?
You're also, we've got an ordinance that you can't park anything on
grass.
On grass, it's gotta be on a,
But I mean, on concrete.
It hasn't been
ground.
mowed, it's been mowed either, has it?
Yeah,
I
I
just-
voted last night, part of it,
I just think
around
we got a equipment lot
Right?
that's being,
No, I had that thought. 'cause I-
well, he's not the only one. I mean, down here by D&D Auto, Peosta Automotive, he's got a gazillion tires laying out there. They got all those cars parked in that grass.
Is that Pat's?
Yeah, what is
Pat
it?
owns
You're
that.
talking that lot where the campers are in the
Yeah,
back?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pat
What's going on there?
Einerson owns that. He, at one time, he came and got a permit to put a building up, but he...
Right, I remember
Never
that,
got a
yeah.
permit, we talked about putting a building up and didn't get a
Oh, he didn't get, I thought he had gotten a permit. Okay, yeah, but he talked about putting a building up.
Well, we didn't want to steal one, we wanted brick front, he didn't want to do nothing in brick or rock or nothing, so.
I don't know.
But,
Don't
I
know
mean,
if
I'll
it's-
look into that, because we were just talking about that related to campers and another issue.
Well, I mean, it's just the stuff right here is an eyesore, the stuff on
Is that,
Peosta Street.
is that outside, is that storage? Is he got that laying?
Well, I think last time someone said.
But he doesn't,
is it storage or
doesn't take care of it. Look at
You
the
can't
trees
park
growing
vehicles
up farther and
in the middle of
farther into the
yard.
lot.
Why would you park equipment for sale in the middle of your yard? I'm not sure exactly what.
Another one that should be taken care of is the libeled residents up here in street, Burge Road. I don't know if you drive by there at all.
Yeah, I see.
Last week he had 3 pickups full of junk sitting out in the,
Recycling or whatever he's doing?
no, hauling to the junk for scrap. But he had that, he's still got one pickup sitting out in the street full of scrap, just sitting there. It's been there for a week.
Red turbo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rose Corner?
there's always stuff in their yard.
Which is kind of, it's horrible because you got such a nice young area. right?
Yeah.
Kelly Oaks is so nice back over there, and actually everything else is nice too.
I don't know, I really looked at it for something else, so.
I think that needs to get addressed, and then fences, we gotta figure out something on these fences, because,
What's with the fences?
well,
Popping up all over the place.
we should figure out a fence ordinance, and then it should at least be X amount of year fence to begin with.
is there more than one? I just know about this one over here.
Carly's got a couple of them over by her.
The house we just sold, they're putting a fence up,
Where's that at?
Little Ridge.
Oh,
Is it chain link,
They're gonna put a vinyl fence up.
vinyl?
My sister-in-law came from Omaha, they've got one fence, and I mentioned this to Kelly, it's like a 5-foot tall steel fence, it's very expensive, but that's the only fence they're allowed to put in, and if you wanna add to it,
you gotta put the same stuff
you have
in.
the same stuff. I mean,
Well, and maybe we have to have an ordinance where you, one type of fence and one type of fence only.
I think.
Type of
we'll be on
quality
that right
fence.
now. I mean, I don't think we need to be that stringent about it, I don't know. Do we want to tell people, you can only, if you're gonna put a fence up, you can only put this fence up?
So you're gonna be paying for that stuff.
The problem is it starts to look, because you get the vinyl fences, then you get a chain link fence.
Or you get the
That's what everybody
cheap
knows, the
Menards
fence, they're worried
bananas.
about chain link.
Is what the problem is, and they pop off a month after you put them on there, because they all blow out and bust off, they look like crap.
What about curb cuts then? Did that person over by the tiki hut have
Not where?
a Mr. Wire down there in Culver?
The silo that's in the backyard. Huh?
Didn't they put in a whole curb to get in the back,
Well, we-
whatever they were
Permits for that.
Okay.
But they have to notify the city, don't they, before they cut the curb?
No, not necessarily.
No,
It just
I-
depends, like, the new houses, they're not notifying when they're cutting the curb. It's part of their permit.
It's
No,
not
but-
that permit, but if you have an existing residence, yeah.
No, we sort of talked about this with the entrances, right? With Wright, same concept of it may make sense to have an entrance permit because that's how we can control that sort of thing.
Right.
Or Gary Miller, it's the same, we have those two issues kind of back to back, that would be the way we would address. Because sometimes it's a curb cut, sometimes it's not, it's, you know, it's a flat surface, but we would want to treat it the same.
Do you need to have somebody that's bonded to cover? Do we have limitations?
I mean, we don't.
Not currently.
It's like in Epworth, I widened my driveway, and I had to pay for a fee and also had to be a bonded person to cut that.
To drag it down.
Right. That's how they did it anyway.
That makes sense.
But then at least you know who's doing what in the city.
Right.
And it's being done the proper way.
Yeah.
So I do owe you a fence estimate.
Depending on zoning is kind of got to first.
Yeah, well, they gave us some ideas that was a little different than maybe what I heard from you guys last time. So I think we just need to start taking an actual hard copy back and forth.
Carla, is that white one going all the way around that backyard?
It must be, I don't know where it's going on my side yet. He hasn't got.
Oh,
Mother
it's
Nature
very
said-
slowly going.
Mother
down,
Nature
yeah.
has not been kind.
Yeah.
He
And I
said
don't
he's gonna
know
have it up 4 weekends ago.
What material that is.
It's vinyl.
It's vinyl.
It's the white vinyl.
I think he
He's
just
got
depends
the
on
post
going
legs.
towards.
Yeah, I know, where is he coming?
He's gonna just be on the backside of his house, maybe like a couple feet up off the very backside. It's not gonna go up. top.
The one I'm talking about is at
On
the
the other
front.
side it already is.
Right, he did
On
that
top
up
of the
there
side.
to put the gate to get into his garage, but on his other side, he's keeping it like towards the rear of his house, because
Okay.
there's no purpose for even
Going up there, through the easement.
But I think he's going to try, just so you're aware, he's gonna try to like, you know where that evergreen tree is back there?
Yeah, does he know that's his?
Go right inside of there, so he's gonna try to trim it up.
I was gonna say, does he know that's his? It's not mine.
Yeah.
I know on the other side he took the one out.
Right.
But him and Mr. Coffee worked on that, so.
Well, I think he held off for a second because he heard that there was talk about what's going on with fences.
Oh, okay.
So, but then, yeah, weather's been awesome.
No
too.
bother. No bother with me.
Okay, Whitney or Karen have anything?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Carla,
Karen, I.
Kathy, aye.
We are adjourned.